my fearless friends, beyond excited and ecstatic this morning in Romania to have two of my wonderful colleagues, two co-authors in our very special project. Call it Book of the Hearts, your healing masterclass done in a written format with my amazing two colleagues from Australia, all the way to Australia. And get ready, because the next several episodes of the stories about fear are going to be really special, dedicated to us being a part of the project of our lives, the Imperfectly Perfect Campaign book series, volume number 1. I'm not even going to have a number for this episode. As a matter of fact, for any of the episodes that are about our stories, about my colleagues, because it's such a special event, we are celebrating big time. And more than anything, we are healing in such a way that it amazes us. As I was talking to Rhiannon and Dave just before we started, it was such a cathartic experience for me, and I can literally call it the cherry on top of my personal development, of my healing, of my quest for answers, of me understanding who am I, what's going on behind my scenes, and not to mention that my ego is so much more under control. Still a lot of work to do there, but this has been, for me, the most transformational activity of my life. I came in this amazing book in June, having great expectations, of course, but what happened next was beyond my wildest dreams, because Glenn Marsden, the amazing spiritual mentor that just keeps us going, he gets us to have so much fuel, he basically over-delivers. And before we start, before my wonderful colleagues, Rhiannon and Dave, tell us how it was for them, because to be honest, I could be talking about this for 10 hours on end and not have enough time to talk about all of the breakthroughs, all of the aha moments that I had during this process. A bit about Rhiannon, and I literally got chills down my spine yesterday when I took the time to fully read her biography. Rhiannon Parker is a secondary school physical education teacher that has had a harrowing experience of surviving gang rape at the age of 18, along with the subsequent mental health battles she faced, including complex PTSD, chronic anxiety, anorexia nervosa, and atypical anorexia. Oh my God, you know, there are things in life that sound pretty strong, pretty dramatic, but when you see her beautiful smile, you'll see that she's a winner. She has made it. And a bit about Dave, because we are a trio today. We have Dave Thacker, who is a personal trainer, wellness coach, producer, philanthropist, altruist, believer, and a true advocate for mental health and helping others. I mean, look at this amazing display. Well, I say look for our friends that are watching us on YouTube, but you know, if you're on Spotify, go to YouTube as well to see these lovely people that are so willing to share so much of their wisdom. Rhiannon and Dave, welcome. It's such a privilege to have you here with us today.
Thank you for having us. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's such a pleasure, guys. And you know, I usually start my episodes asking my guests, what is your story? But we don't want to share that. This time we are going to talk about the process, how it was for you guys to have your thoughts, your story, your intimate feelings in that book, because we want our fearless friends to get their hands on this amazing book that has 15 co-authors, 5 celebrity co-authors. What a blessing this is going to be. So let's start with Rhiannon. My dear, can you please tell us, how was it for you to have your story written in the book?
Exciting, terrifying, I think, all at the same time. I feel growing up, I learned from a really young age to keep these things to myself. And I think being an educator and working with teenagers and adolescents, I think we were always taught to keep our personal lives very, very private, not to share anything. Not to mention the stigma we have in society about mental health. So for me, even applying for this book was terrifying. Then to be chosen to be a part of this amazing adventure, it was a mix of emotions. I think initially I didn't give it too much thought because I was scared. I think as anybody would be on this journey, but after speaking to Glenn and meeting the other co-authors and sharing my vulnerability with everyone, and people actually seeing me for me and not maybe Rhiannon the teacher or Rhiannon the athlete, it was very empowering. I think for me, and I'm still in recovery, I've always been in a little bit of a roadblock. And I think that roadblock was shame and guilt. I think that really stopped me from going that next step and being my authentic self. And again, just letting go and being okay with what happened to me. And since I have let go of that and I've let Glenn and all of you guide me through this amazing process, it's been nothing but sheer joy. It's been, like I said before, it's been empowering. It's been very freeing. And every day, you know, we communicate with each other, and every day I hear from Glenn or I see you guys posting or we get a day close to the book. I just have a feeling something really good is about to come out of this, and it's really beautiful to have this feeling.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing, Rhiannon. This is beautiful. And I do need to acknowledge Glenn. He couldn't be here with us today, but you know, I have a feeling that I'll be mentioning him, we'll be mentioning him as if he's here even more.
Yes.
He can create a really safe space, because adding to your story, how I felt, I was not ready last year. It felt like I'm going to die if anyone could even have a glimpse of what I was going through, because my pain last year, before Glenn got to shake me really well and make me understand that, hey, it's not real, it's in your mind, you can change the story. It was petrifying. And my narcissism was out of control last year, and it would hurt even when I would communicate. So I would be talking to people, I would be dying inside. This is how awful it was. But then slowly but surely, as I got to, you know, write the words down in the book, I felt such a relief, and I understood, hey, you know, it wasn't normal that I felt like this before. Well, normal, that used to be my reality, hurting every time I would get in front of someone. And how about you, Dave? How was it for you to write in this amazing project?
Yeah, similar with myself. Because I've been meeting up with Glenn for 5 years or so. So just when the IPC started, and then he told me about the book, and I thought that, you know, that's an interesting concept, all that sort of stuff. I didn't even think about being part of the book at that point when he told me about it. And then I'd spoken to Glenn about, you know, a mishap that I had with medication, like a weight loss medication. And he's like, yeah. Because maybe you want to talk about that. And I was like, oh no, not not, no, thank you. I don't really want to. I would rather keep that to myself. And then I think along the line, same with you guys, I just went, no, like it's not my story, even though it's about me, it's not about me, if that makes sense. It's kind of like someone's going to read it and go, yeah, that's really helpful, or that's really insightful, or that's, I don't know. I got to a point where I healed from that situation, and then I could openly kind of give insight and information about that situation. And then I was like, yeah. The hardest part of telling the story is actually telling the story. I submitted my story 4 times, and the feedback that I got was that you write like a man. And I was just like, what do you mean I write like a man? He goes, your story is really factual, Dave. And this is the feedback I've got. It's like I was saying facts. And he goes, the feedback I got was people need to know the like the crux of it, like how it felt and how you like, you know, a day-to-day living with what you went through. And all that. So I was like, oh, that's like, I really wanted to, like, I don't want people, like, you know, I was holding on to that for dear life. I don't want people to know that part. I just happy to fit people to know the facts. I'm not happy to people to see my vulnerability. There's no, that's the thing that connects you to people. And I was like, all right. And then I did it, and he went, yeah, that's it. He goes, he goes, I felt that. And he goes, that's what will, you know, ultimately people will connect with. And but funnily enough, after I got the positive feedback that he felt positive about the information I provided, that was good enough for me to go to be okay with what I wrote. Does that make sense? So I was pretty happy with the end result.
Wow. Dave, I was not expecting this. You just got so much courage for having your vulnerabilities out, as you said. And as Rhiannon said, well, we're just used to keeping it to ourselves. Everyone tells us to kind of be quiet, just say nice things. Don't say anything that would disrupt others, or don't create any sadness, because life is already tough as it is. And let me tell you guys, I went through the same thing all my life. I grew in the village with my grandparents up until I was 5 years old. And although they, of course, they did their best to give me love and attention and everything that I needed, in terms of mental health, I had basically no idea who I was up until just a few years ago, because I would be always told to keep quiet and don't you dare be saying anything that disagrees with the person that you are talking to. You need to kind of, look pretty, be quiet, don't whine, don't cry. Big girls don't cry. And I can only imagine, Dave, what you heard growing up. Boys don't cry. You don't need to show your emotions. You're weak if you show your fears. So I really am happy that you're here, Dave, and it took quite some guts, and I can't wait to read your story and yours as well, Rhiannon. And can you please share with us, Rhiannon, what do you hope to achieve through sharing your amazing story?
Such a good question. There's so many things I want to achieve, but if just somebody can read my story and know that they're going to be okay, that's all I want. I just want someone to read it going, it's going to be okay. You know, there's going to be people that are going to read each of our stories, and they're going to resonate with different parts. And for me, I think a part of my journey is committing myself to recovery and to getting help, because I learned really the hard way that suffering silence wasn't the answer. I really want people to, well, after reading my story, to feel comfortable reaching out and actually saying I'm not okay and getting help. and breaking that stigma around hiding, you know, their pain and their hurt, because everything we go through is valid. Everything we go through deserves to be heard and deserves a voice, and we deserve to have people around us that are willing to listen and willing to support us. Life's hard. It's really, really hard. It's not supposed to be easy, and we're not designed to go through this on our own. So I just hope someone reading my story feels empowered enough to ask for help and can recognize that their voice is just as important as anybody else's.
This is beautiful, Rhiannon. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for sharing mostly about validation. I'm also a recovering people pleaser, and I would not think in a billion years that I would be someone that disagrees with the people around me, because I would thought that this would mean drama. This would mean a big clash. So I always thought that if at least one person doesn't say that, well, you are right to feel that way, I would feel really crushed and disappointed, because I never had any idea that I don't need anyone else's opinion or validation to tell me that, yes, what you are feeling is valid, as you just said. What we feel inside is enough validation for us to continue doing something or not, making a certain decision or not. And that's so relieving, right? That's so freeing when you get your power back to you. So Dave, can you please also tell us, what do you hope to achieve through having your story in the Imperfectly Perfect campaign book series?
It's a great question. I think ultimately knowing that what your life looks like in your darkest moments could look completely different even a day after. It's like if people, and that's what people need. People need that perspective of this too shall pass. Like it's literally, if you would have told me, because a lot of this happened to me during COVID. So not only was I experiencing COVID, I was experiencing the mishap with medication that happened to me during COVID. So I had these dual things going on for me. If you would have told me back then how things would be now, I may or not have believed you, but people don't understand that what the future holds. And what people need to understand in dark moments is the future can be golden, like it can, and this can be like wisdom that you move forwards with. You know, I'm writing a book now based on my experience. I'm a co-author of a book. If you would have told me 2 years ago in the depths of despair, you're going to be a co-author of a book, you know, probably wouldn't have believed you. But now I'm 20, 30 kilos lighter. Like my health has been restored. My faith has been restored. Like everything has been restored, but even more plentiful than it was even before this happened to me. So that's what people need to they need to have hope or belief or faith or whatever it is. Just know, just another day, another day, another day. Just get to another day. And also, I think people feel that they need lots of friends. So I can speak from my experience. I only needed half a dozen friends to get me through this. I didn't actually need lots and lots of friends to support me. I just, like, the half a dozen that I had just understood me, understood it, or at least they listened. And that was really effective. In my book, or in the book, I talk about snipers. And what I mean by that is that just people who hit the mark, like just very effective people in your life that kind of get it. And those are the people when, trouble hits you in your life. So make sure you're surrounded by those type of people. That can be all that you need, but those are the people that'll carry you through. And then guess what? You're going to be that person to somebody else. Do you know what I mean? And that's the tool in your tool belt that you're going to end up with, because you're going to get it and then you're going to give back, and you're going to be skilled and you're going to have insight and perspective and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I want people to get out of it. Like you don't know what's down the track, and I'm living proof that you don't know what's down the track.
Wow. You know, this is a mic drop. I would drop my mic, but I still I still use it. Phenomenal sharing, Dave. Wow. Impressive. Goosebumps here. This is so important, and I'm just so happy to have you guys here. And no wonder, I had a feeling that it's going to be a special episode, but to be honest, not like this. So empowering, Dave. This is wonderful, and thank you for mentioning this. Yes, hope is what gets people to just get themselves up and start living again. Because as Rhiannon just said, life is not supposed to be easy. It is how it is. But when you are going towards something, right, when you have a big picture that's positive, that gets you to smile at least once in a while during the day, I think we are winners, because we just need to know where we are going. And Dave, your story, wow, this is beyond impressive. And I just cannot wait to get the book myself, to get all of your guys' stories and to share them. I just cannot wait to share them, because my fearless friends that are watching us and listening to us, it will not be long until you can get your hands on this amazing work of art. Again, book of the hearts, book of the souls. You are going to enjoy such a display of vulnerability, because Glenn has this way of getting us to share everything, whether we want to or not at first.
Yeah.
But then
he has a superpower. He has a superpower, doesn't
exactly.
Yes.
So our
That's right.
fearless friends that want to get your interest registered already, you can do so. You are going to find the links in the description of this amazing podcast episode. And also, what we have for you, everyone that has been watching us and listening to us through our journeys with the Imperfectly Perfect campaign book series so far, you know that we rave about Glenn. We just cannot help it. It's how it is. He's the one that created the Imperfectly Perfect campaign, the fastest growing mental health organization in the world. He is full on heart. He wears his heart on his sleeves. This is why he makes us all resonate in such a way. And I don't know if you guys know, Rhiannon and Dave, Glenn is the only person through tens and tens of coaches and mentors that I could resonate with fully. When he would talk, I would listen, because this is how interested he is in getting us to be well, to get our mental health back on track, and to just make us live our best lives. So for everyone that's watching us and listening to us, my fearless friends, I think you even saw on my social media that Glenn has an amazing opportunity in November, live in Los Angeles. You are
LA.
yeah. Dave, I think you are excited as well. I can see it on your face, and you as well, Rhiannon. What Glenn is about to do in Los Angeles is this revolutionary live mastermind to just fast forward you as a person and your business. So when I heard about this opportunity, I was like literally jumping up and down. My 3-year-old daughter was looking at me and she was like, "Mommy, are you okay?" Because she never saw me this ecstatic. And I am like this because if it were not for Glenn, I'm pretty worried looking back where I would be with my life, with my mind, because of such a horrific ego issue, my narcissism was truly out of control last year. So if it were not for him, I don't know where I would be right now. And I'm so happy that he has this chance for people to experience him live, because with the co-authors, we've had such an amazing breakthrough online, right? Well, Dave was just lucky enough to be with Glenn there. Oh my God, Dave, you are just so fortunate to be live around him. So I can only imagine how impactful this is going to be for everyone. So my fearless friends, you are going to have the links in the description of our episode where you can register and be a part of the story, be a part of the legacy that the Imperfectly Perfect campaign is putting out there in the world. And as I mentioned, the Imperfectly Perfect campaign, Rhiannon, can you please tell us, what does it mean for you to be imperfectly perfect?
To be Rhiannon. Rhiannon, I have anorexia nervosa. I'm not perfect. I cry all the time. I can be a needy friend, but I can also be fun, loving, outgoing, and everything that makes me makes me imperfect and lovable just the way that I am. It's being authentic you without having the rose-colored glasses on. It's being the best version of yourself, knowing that you'll attract the right people around you. That's what it means to me. Just be Rhi.
I love it. And when you said that, it means Rhiannon, to be me. Wow, I felt that. I really felt that. Dave, can you please tell us as well, what does imperfectly perfect mean to you?
It's a great question. I'm a person of faith. So what that means to me is grace and truth. I'm imperfect, so I need grace. I get that through faith. I get that through faith in God and Jesus Christ, my Savior. And I rely on truth that I get from Him and the Bible and my understanding of life and the values that I have. So I get to understand myself and my imperfections. I give those to God, and He, through His love, His guidance, helps to, I suppose, at least shed light on those imperfections and help me live in the way that I should be living. And he helps me to do that, and I try and do that to the best of my ability, but purely based on his grace. And I try and live, like Rhiannon saying, just an authentic life full of truth and honesty and integrity.
Wow, thank you for saying that, Dave. I needed to hear that because I'm working on my relationship with God, working on my relationship with me, to trust myself enough to know that any decision that I make is the best one that I can make. And to me, perfectly perfect means that I'm just doing my very best in this very moment with the resources that I have handy right now, because I'm thinking, if I could have done more, I would have obviously done more, right? We do our best each and every single time. And I sometimes need to put a reminder to look at it, to understand that there's no perfection. We are just perfect in our imperfections, exactly the way that we are. And that's just so freeing, so relieving to know that it's enough for us to be alive, to be here. We don't need to do anything else, because we are the only one that judge ourselves, right? No one else judges us but us. And boy, can we be some great critics sometimes. And I wanted to ask you guys, Dave, if you want to share, how do you feel now after submitting your story in the book and knowing that it's about to be out there live for everyone to read?
Uh, I feel good actually because the process of doing it, I felt like someone pulled my pants down. If I'm to be honest, I know that's a funny expression. I felt like I was walking around with my pants down, but afterwards, I now feel like I've got my socks pulled up and I'm ready. Like it's now. I'm sure there's an expression that's just like, your most vulnerable moments are your most powerful stories. Like it's those. I just feel like it's the the more okay with it now that it's out there, the more confidence I have with it. And so I feel confident. Like I'm happy to talk. Like I want people to read it and to talk to me about stuff because the more little conversations I've had so far, people are like, "Oh, I know someone that's gone through." Oh, you know what I mean? Like they open up, and it's actually when I thought I was the only one who'd gone through what I went through. When people, you know, are happy to um, be vulnerable themselves, they actually go, yeah, either they went through something similar, or they knew someone, or that's really helpful. Or I said some resources that I used during the time that I had a struggle, and they took down some of the resources that I had talked to them about, and they're going to share those with their friends. You know what I mean? Like I'm having an impact on people's lives. That's amazing. That's an amazing feeling. Like it's giving me purpose, and it's giving me drive, and it's giving me focus, and it's giving me. And this is the book hasn't been released yet. Do you know what I mean? So I'm ready. I've got the Rocky music on, so I'm good to go.
Wow, love it, Dave. So you are already changing lives without the book being even live yet. That's
No,
brilliant.
that's right.
And I think that each and every one of us is doing the same thing at certain extents, at some extents, because sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. We don't know if someone that's maybe reading a story of ours that clicks on a link or just sees a word of motivation or of encouragement, we just don't know how much this can impact them. And then, as you said, Dave, they're opening up, maybe sharing with their friends, with their family, who just takes it forward and even further. And it's exciting. Yes, it's basically time to celebrate, to just enjoy the fruits of our labor, what we went through, because it's just wonderful to have processed everything so that now, as you said, Dave, and I love the metaphor, you had your pants down, but now you're just ready to rock and roll, just be there and be such a source of inspiration. And if I may add, I felt like I was going out naked, but without makeup. I had a big thing with body dysmorphia last year. And as I was writing my story last month, I kind of felt it again. So I had a huge test because there are things that I was ashamed of, things that you don't want to mention here in Eastern Europe, in Romania. You just want to be quiet and don't say that because you can be the laughing stock. And I kind of had, as Rhiannon said, a kind of a petrifying experience to mention these words. But then as I kind of, got myself, kind of forced myself to just write everything, then it really felt like, wow, it wasn't that bad. Why was I even scared of it? It didn't make any sense. But it's easy to kind of observe things after you have begun the process, because before it kind of stings. You feel like, I'm not sure if I want to do that. And I loved it, as you said earlier, Dave. No, I'm just fine with not sharing these things. Thank you very much. I'm okay with keeping it to myself. So,
Yeah, that's right.
Rhiannon, yeah, I can see and I know how much courage you had, Dave, as a man, especially as a man, that you just mustered up all of your courage and just said, you know what? I'm doing this. It'll be okay in the end. And look at this. You are
Mm.
inspiring people already. So this is brilliant. And what about you, Rhiannon? How do you feel now that your story is going to be shortly in the hands of everyone out there?
Yeah, I can't even put a label on it. It's just like this warm feeling in like the middle of my chest. I think when this first started and I first met Glenn and he was like, you know, you're in, let's do this. I did have that fear. And it's funny, you know, you spoke, Dave, about your pants down. And then, you know, I felt similar in terms of, yeah, I did. I felt naked and exposed. And I think previously I couldn't even speak to my psychologist about what I had been through. And talk about timing. I think I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to do it, but I did it. And now I've done it again. It's that warm feeling in my chest that bigger and better things are coming. And I just feel something's going to happen. I can't even put a label on it, but I feel excited and I actually feel okay about it. I'm starting to feel more confident talking to people about what I've been through. I'm starting to feel more confident, I think, hearing other people's stories. I was always worried about judgment, and I've received nothing but positivity. And, you know, we do get people, you know, reaching out to us, which I'm sure you both have as well, saying, I went through this, or somebody I know went through it. And I've been able to just hear them and acknowledge how they're feeling and what happened to them, because that's, I think, what a lot of us always needed. We just needed to feel heard. And I'm ready to personally feel heard, and I'm ready to hear other people. It's just been, I feel lighter. Yeah, I don't have the emotion for it. It's not an emotion. It's just a feeling inside.
Wow. This is beautiful, Rhiannon. Thank you so much for sharing. I am so inspired by you guys, and I'm so thankful to be here in this position as a podcaster that has been going through some interesting experiences. And, you know, if everything that I went through got me in this position of being here with you guys today, wow, it was all worth it and so welcomed for me to just feel everything and go through it all, because, you know, this is going to stick with me for a long time, Rhiannon. Life is just not easy. It's not meant to be easy, but as Dave said, take it one day at a time, and it'll be the best experience for us, because as you guys said, you get people to open up, maybe not publicly, but as you said, Rhiannon, the fact that you had people telling you that, hey, you know, I've been through this, they're kind of beginning to remove the stigma of shame and guilt for feeling the way that they do. And this is one of my missions as a fear specialist, to get people to accept and embrace all of their emotions, because it's the most normal and natural thing that you can experience, because you're a human being. As long as you're alive and a human, you will have emotions. They're just amazing messengers that give you the next step, what to do, what not to do. And my fearless colleagues, we are on stories about fear. So I want to ask you first, Rhiannon, what do you think about fear? How do you deal with it?
The first thing I want to do is run away from it, but I know I need to run towards it, because on the other side of fear is growth. And if we spend our life running away from what scares us the most, we're never going to find what that next step is. I think every time I ran away, I felt trapped, you know, whether it be running away from problems, from work, from friends, from emotions, you know, from feelings. You know, my little mantra to myself is, if it scares you, you're exactly where you need to be. Run towards it and just see if you can get to the other side of it, because I promise you, what's on the other side is golden. It's worth it.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yes, I agree 100%. What's on the other side is your best life possible. And sometimes we just need to go from one fear to another. But you know what? This is what makes it special. This is what makes it so unique and full of adventure, because you just don't want to have all the answers all the time. And something that I love myself is embracing mistakes and failures. I think it's brilliant to go through it all, get the lesson, but, and I'm saying this to my fearless friends as well that are watching us and listening to us, by all means, do not live with regret. You can get things to be so much more worse than you could imagine, or things could be so much more better than you could have ever envisioned. Just don't live with regret. Do it scared, do it petrified, but know that there are chances and basically opportunities in life that happen only once. You don't want to miss them, because it could lead to compound growth, exponential growth. Always take action as much as you can, because the first step is always the hardest. But then you'll see how things align and you'll be wondering, wow, this is such a whole new perspective, and it could be, again, even better that you can envision. Thank you so much for sharing, Rhiannon. And Dave, can you please tell us, how do you see fear?
I was thinking about that, and I was thinking back to when I used to box. So when I was a teenager, I was a boxer, and I remember the time where I became a better boxer was when I actually got hit. And why that was good for me was that it took away the fear of being hit. So when that was gone, like up until that point, I was afraid of being hit. And I was very kind of like, very tight and very kind of, I don't know how to put it. I was afraid, I was tight, all that sort of stuff. And when I got hit, I was like, it's actually the fear is worse than death, sort of, as the saying goes. So it's actually the fear of something that is more the issue than the actual reality of something. Not all the time, but most of the majority of the time, it's actually the fear of something. And then I started doing acting, and acting was the same. Was that you would do a scene and you would stuff up, but then like the acting coach would just go, keep going, and you go, okay, and then you learn to just, and that's very similar to life, where it's just like, you're actually allowed to stuff up in life. Fear are just signals. Like they're not necessarily dangers to a certain extent, unless you are actually in danger. Does that make sense? Like unless you're getting chased by a bear and you're afraid, that's a very rational fear. A lot of fears that we have are very irrational, I feel. So I remember, like, I've been doing cold immersion training, which is like I get into cold baths, and they say to respond, don't react to the stimulus. So in life, that's the same as well. So when our adrenal system gets triggered or heightened or whatever through stimulus, whatever it may be, respond to the best you can. Don't react to the situation or that stuff. And that's how you minimize fear or you deal with fear. And it just helps you negate, gives you that sort of compass with those sorts of things in life. It's just like, no, it's actually, it's the worry of something that's the issue. It's not the actual the problem itself. Like if you have problem solving skills, you actually, like, things actually work out okay. So a lot of it is just the fear of fear, if that makes sense.
You are so right, Dave. I just love that you mentioned this. Oh my God. Now, could this talk have gotten even better? Yes. I'm just super excited about what you said about fear and what you also said, Rhiannon. This is giving me food for thought at a whole new level. Because let me give you guys an example. I'm a major gourmand. I could eat a horse in a minute if I'm hungry. I eat more than my dad. I'm just eating a lot because I enjoy it. And I have my husband saying at certain points, sometimes he says that, you shouldn't eat those fries. And I don't eat them very often. Now, this is an excuse, right? But I'm thinking, if something tastes this good, it cannot harm me because I'm mindful. I don't eat fries every day. It's once per month. Now I'm admitting, and it used to be so much more often, but I have the same mindset about this as you just said, Dave. It's the fear itself that causes the distress and the mental pain, not necessarily the action that you're about to do. And I feel the same about fries. Maybe it's not the best comparison, but I'm sure you guys understand. Fries cannot be that damaging,
I'm not going to
right?
kill you.
It's the energy, right? The thought that you put into eating the fries that's more damaging than the fries itself, right? Does it make sense?
Yes,
Yes, it does.
exactly.
Finally, some people that understand me. I need to send this to my husband 100%. So he knows that I'm not the only one thinking like this. Oh my God, this has been enlightening. And I just cannot believe that it's about an hour since we are talking. I feel so grateful and really privileged and honored to have you guys, Rhiannon and Dave, here on Stories About Fear to share your heart so that people can see how freeing and how healing and how relieving it is to just let it out. Yes, it's tough at first, as Rhiannon and Dave said. It wasn't pretty when they first started, and I also felt like, wow, this is tougher than I thought. But look at us now, and I'm saying this in the most humble way, that we made it in terms of having our story out there, us having it processed to such an extent that now it's a source of inspiration and growth for everyone watching us and listening to us, and more than anything, for everyone that's going to read this amazing, wonderful work of art. Rhiannon, where can we find you? Where can we get in touch with you and see all of your amazing updates on the upcoming book?
So please follow me. I mainly use Instagram. So my full name, Rhiannon Kate Parker. So RhiannonKateParker, all one word. And that's where I'm popping all my updates for everyone to keep up to date with what I'm doing. So yeah, please give me a follow and a shout out. And I can't wait to, speak to you all and yeah, get this conversation going.
Wonderful, Rhiannon. And you have quite some spelling. That's awesome.
I do. I have to spell my name out for people, otherwise it's going haywire.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And what about you, Dave? Where can we find you? Where can we get in touch with you and see all of the amazing things that you are doing with the Imperfectly Perfect campaign book series?
So I think there's a book series. I think there's a group, isn't there, that people can join. That's one way. And the other way is Hot Property. So that's my business name. So I'm a personal trainer, and obviously my clients become Hot Property when they train with me. So it's HOTPROPTY. Hot Professional Personal Training is why it stands out. A lot of people think I'm in property, which isn't true. It's actually my personal training name. So yeah, Hot Property, and my name is obviously Dave Thacker on my Instagram page, I'd love for you guys to reach out, give me a follow, or any questions you have around the story or the book. I'd love to hear from you.
Wonderful, Dave. Thank you for sharing, because I know that everyone watching us and listening to us will want to get in touch with you guys, because you are just brilliant, inspiring me so much, giving me so much food for thought. So I am going to invite our fearless friends to check out my amazing co-authors, to give them a follow and ask them anything. They're an open book, but don't ask them about their actual stories, because they're going to be in our book that's going to be launched pretty soon. You are going to find all of the links in the description of this blessed episode. And I am just so happy to have been able to share with you, my fearless friends, such beautiful hearts that Rhiannon and Dave have. Again, if you want to register your interest, and I'm sure that by now it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, go to the link in the description and get your hands on this amazing book when it launches very soon as well. This opportunity with Glenn, you will be hearing more from us, because we are just beyond thrilled to just compound our existence, our business, our being in his life energy. Again, Dave, oh my God, I am envious that you were in his amazing energy live, but I'm sure that this just makes you want to be more around him and learn from him, because these people are rare. In my opinion, again, as Glenn was the only person that I fully and truly resonated with as a coach in more than 10 years of personal development, going through so many processes and methods and so many wonderful people, yes, but no one made me open up like he has. No one helped me cure body dysmorphia, severe ego issues, narcissism, and so much more. I just don't want to continue, because we are just going in another hour. This is how much Glenn has helped me. So I am just super thrilled to give you guys the chance to be with him live in Los Angeles. Again, it's going to be this November. Stay tuned for my amazing guest updates. I'm sure that you have your Instagram, my fearless friends. That's where I'm mostly active as well. I think we are this very cute group that's Instagram bound. And I think this is wonderful. We are having so many things in common. And I already feel like home. I feel like this is such a support system for me. And I am just blessed. Rhiannon and Dave, thank you for this phenomenal episodes today. I appreciate you. I love you. And I send you all of my heart and all of my love from Romania. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.